Okay, so next up, we are going to talk about Method Man and the fact that he has decided that he is no longer going to perform at Hot 97 Summer Jam. And his reasoning for deciding to not perform at Hot 97 Summer Jam is because um, generationally, the age gap has become too much for him and it's no longer his crowd. So he feels like as a result, he's appreciative for the platform that they have afforded him as a performer, but he just feels like he won't be back. It's no longer his scene. So this says Method Man refuses to perform at Hot 97 Summer Jam again. Not our crowd at all. Method Man's far reach within the hip hop community still has its limitations, and he has now come to terms with it. On Sunday, which was June 2nd, he and Redman took the stage at this year's Hot 97 Summer Jam at the UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. Although a number of veterans such as Big Daddy Kane, EPMD, and Jadakiss also performed at the event, the bill was mostly dominated by younger artists like Doja Cat, Sexy Red, Gunna, and many more. This is perhaps why the Wu Tang Clan Spitter doesn't plan on returning to the annual gathering. Not our crowd at all, he wrote in the comment section of an Instagram post of his performance. Thanks again, New York and the whole tri state area that showed up to the event, plus Peter Rosenberg and Ebro Darden. I got love for you guys, but never again. At this point, the generation gap is just too wide for me. Hashtag never coming back. A day before the event in New York, Black Thought Common and Freeway hooked up with Method Man and Redman for an all-star remix of 4321 at Jay Perry's live mixtape set at Roots Picnic over the weekend. Okay, so blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
so that just
right
gets
now.
into something else. So yeah, so Method Man is like, hey man, listen, Summer Jam not for us. Never coming back. Generation gap is too wide. He just feels like it's no longer a scene for him. Now, Redman, I don't know if he's speaking for Redman as well or if he's just speaking for himself. It sounds like he's just speaking for himself, but be that as it may, what are your thoughts on Redman, not Redman, on Method Man deciding that he's done now, with Summer Jam? He's not coming back.
Can't blame the man. One bit. I think he's finally at that age now where he needs to start doing Tom Joyner cruises and start doing jazz fest. Whatever's going on where the old heads are at. We the new old heads, bro. Like that's what the kids keep calling us. We're the old head haters. And we're on the young end of it. So we weren't even really there when like Method Man, we there for that, but that's more like for my brothers, so 10 or so years older than me. Like that's pretty much in their cohort. And I'm telling you right now, like my brothers, like even if, Method Man was performing or whatever somewhere, they wouldn't want to, they'll be like, oh, that's nice, but I'm not going to an event like that. So it's not too many people in that age bracket that feel that way about something like that. But if it's a controlled environment where it's just Wu Tang, it's just this, the other headliners or other people from that same thing, then yeah, he can go rock out. But yeah, they said the likes of Gunna, Sexy Red, and uh, whoever else, yeah, man, that's not gonna get it done. So everybody there mostly were, yeah, young people who don't even understand these references or bars. I'm a big Method Man fan too, but I'm more of a fan of him. It's probably like 4 5 songs max that I have of his. uh and those are including features as well, but that doesn't take away the fact that I respect him as an artist. So I would see Method Man. I would, yeah, if Method Man came to Austin, I might pull up. So he's not done with performing. He's just done with Summer Jam. And
Right.
Summer Jam is for children, apparently. So yeah, man, I don't besmirch this at all. I think this is a good call for him. I guess he had to make it public and let everybody know. But for the most part, I don't see anything wrong with this. But this also ties into those things that we always talk about, where um, People get aged out of the game. And there's something in our community, man. And I think this is much like I was saying with the WNBA thing, where we're witnessing a physical manifestation of competition of women. So it's an obvious type of thing. And this is also a physical manifestation of people not respecting elders. And so in our culture, there isn't a high level, even though we say we do, we really don't respect our elders. And if we did, we would do our homework. And if we say that we're a part of hip hop or whatever, we would do our homework. But that's not being taught. It's everything new is better, everything old is trash, all old people are trash. And so that comes up in hip hop as well. So it shows its ugly face, unfortunately. But overall, I agree with Meth, bro. Leave that thing alone, man. Uh Team up with Redman and do a Tom Joyner cruise. I know that thing will be live. So, what are your thoughts on Sir Method Man abandoning Summer Jam, not doing it anymore? You down with that?
I applaud his self-awareness. He understands where and who his audience is, and
Hmm.
he is not going to waste his time trying to fit a square peg into a round hole by being somewhere in which that place does not constitute who he thinks his audience is.
Hmm.
So on the Method Man front, I have no issues with him making that determination, but I'm just disappointed that he had to make that determination. Um, Rap, hip hop, whatever the hell you want to call it. Hip hop is more of the cultural overture, and then rap is like the specific form of the music. But it is the most ageist of all of the genres of music, as far as I can tell. It by far engages in ageism, and it gets to a certain point where you just get aged out of the music. Because from an industry standpoint, there is a form of content that has become popularized with this music, and that particular kind of content um, only resonates with people who are, I don't know, between the ages, I would say 14 and 30, as far as I can tell. We talked about this before. A lot of the content that is popularized in this music nowadays is, stuff about spending your money irresponsibly, treating women irresponsibly, making irresponsible life decisions, engaging in irresponsible, violent activity. Although I think 90% of these rappers who talk about that are lying, they're not actually doing that stuff, but they
Hmm.
talk about it a lot.
Hmm.
And you can only afford to do those things when you live a life of irresponsibility. And the vast majority of humans who have enough bandwidth in their life schedule to live life irresponsibly are younger people. Hence, the majority of the audience of this music are younger people.
Hmm.
Now, generally speaking, I would say most forms of music lend themselves to a younger audience. And it goes to that whole marketing tactic of trying to appeal to that 18 to 35 demographic, because that's the age demographic that's perceived to have the most purchasing power or
Hmm.
the most disposable income. Because I guess the thinking is once you're over that age, you have bills and a family and children. So there's less money to spend on things like music and going to concerts and stuff. And they employ that tactic across the board. I don't care whether we're talking music, movies, video games. It can be books, um, vacations. Like that's what the target market for all of these marketing campaigns is people within that age bracket. And so the music is no different. And so it's not uncommon to see music forms cater to younger people, but it seems to be far more pervasive with hip hop and rap music, where there's literally this underlying theme that once you've hit like 35 plus, you just don't even need to be involved in it anymore. And yeah, I find it hard to believe that anybody who listens to Doja Cat, Gunna, or Sexy
Mm.
Red listens to
Mm.
Method Man.
No.
That ain't a hard stretch. Like that's not a hard stretch to make the assertion that if you listen to any one of those people, you probably don't listen to Method Man. So he has no business being there. But this to me is a sad referendum on the extreme ageism that this form of music engages in. I don't see it engaged in to this extreme with any other genre of music, in my opinion. I see other genres where artists get older and they're still viable and respected, and people still want to see them and appreciate them. No one's saying, hey, you're old, we don't want to see you anymore. You only see that with this rap stuff and this hip hop stuff. So I agree with him coming to terms with this. And yeah, from this point moving forward, he's a Jazz in the Gardens guy.
Yeah, he is.
You know, he's a Jazz in the Garden. He's got to be a Jazz in the Gardens guy because yeah, when you go to Summer Jam or any one of these music festivals, Coachella, South by Southwest, you're going to get your 23, 24-year olds, 28, 29-year olds who live life irresponsibly. And those are the people to whom this music resonates with because this industry has done an effective job of popularizing exclusively that form of content when it comes to the music, unfortunately.
Yep.
So it's sad, it sucks, but he needs to do right by himself, and I agree with his decision.
Yeah, man, 1000%, man. So we'll see what happens with this, man. We'll see if he starts to to do those types of shows, man. Because I know I get it for whenever the promoters was putting that together. I mean, it was just it's a bad match, but I get it in theory that all right, and Method Man and Redman for the old heads, so we could get the whole, get everybody in there, but in practicality, yeah, it just blew up in his face. So, yeah, man, and shouts out to Currency, man. I don't know if I mentioned it on here, but I went and saw Currency. That's my dog, man. He's my favorite. I don't think he's the best, but he is my favorite. And so yeah, he came to Austin last month or so. I went out there to see him, man. First time I went to a concert where I actually enjoyed the music, and I was there with other like-minded people. We all saying word for whatever he's saying, and it was a small thing, but that's how Currency does his thing. He does his shows at these venues that will hold the people that's gonna be there, and he makes his money. He gets out of there. And I know Method Man already does those type of things, but that's pretty much where you're at right now. Is my point. But I know one thing. A room full of 10 Wu-Tang fans all by themselves watching Redman or Method Man perform or whatever, that place would be more turned up than an auditorium full of Sexy Red and all of those types of fans. So yeah, I think he knows that. He got enough money. He don't need this like that. I think he's just in space was like, hey, y'all, I appreciate it, but my run with this type of stuff is over. And yeah, man, I'm with it, man. And age appropriate music, let's get into that. So
Yeah.
shouts out to Meth, man. Shouts out to all the old heads out there, bro. We stay, bro. I don't care what nobody say. And Method Man, even though it's like whatever, again, because I told you I don't have like a catalog of his stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. But one thing about it, if I had like a all-star mixtape of guys that need to be, I can tap anybody I want and have them be a part of the mixtape. Method Man's going to be a part of that. I feel as though he upholds hip hop a lot. I felt like he always did that. So Redman, Method Man, Ghostface, what's that boy name? Raekwon. Love those dudes, man. The RZA, the Jizza. Hey, what the first Friday Bonds, man. Whatever Dave Chappelle was doing, man, with them
Yeah.
boys. Yeah,
Yeah.
but shouts out to Meth, man.
Yeah. It's too bad that hip hop itself doesn't care about those people anymore. Because if they did, they do a much better job of making sure that no matter how old you are, um, it's not a crime to be in your early 20s or mid 20s and listen to Method Man. Now, granted, Method Man isn't exactly active, making music like that anymore, but there's a significant catalog there. And for him to have felt as though he was alienated to the point where he doesn't want to go back to Summer Jam, to me that speaks volumes in terms of what he saw in the crowd when he was there. Seriously, for real. Like, you know, That
Uh,
tells me all that I need to know. And I think that this genre of music does a disservice um, when it engages in this ageism that it does. It sucks. It's too bad because there's a lot of good music to go around and there's a lot of appreciation for it. And I get that you have to put Sexy Red and Doja Cat and these people like Gunna and Future. I get that you have to put them on the bill. I get that. But an older artist shouldn't come to that same show and feel so alienated by his presence that he decides he's never going to come back again. That to me is very glaring in terms of the type of crowd that was there, which to me speaks to the overarching issue that this genre has with engaging in what I think is extreme ageism. And it's too bad. It's unfortunate. But I
yep.
also don't think it's going anywhere.
Yep. Hey man. Good luck, young people out there. And we're trying our part to, help bestow some appreciation for the old heads. So we're the older people, telling y'all to respect y'all elders. We're trying to do our part, man. But hey, man, um, it is what it is, bro. Our culture really doesn't do that at this point. So hopefully that changes. But right now, this summer jam really reflected how much work we got to do as far as,
Yeah.
and again, this is just for hip hop, but this is a microcosm of a much bigger issue of elders not being respected. And if they respected their elders, they would have did more homework. If they're hip hop fans, enough so that they would have appreciated his performance a lot more. But hey, man, we'll get there one day, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see
Uh,
it. I think it's just going to continue to devolve.
my fingers
So,
crossed, man. My fingers
yeah.
crossed.
Shouts out to Method Man. Shouts out. I expect to see him on the next Jazz in the Gardens bill. I expect to see that.
uh,